What if I told you? The longest war in modern history wasn't fought for freedom or oil. What if the real treasure grew in fields of blood-red flowers? Poppies, the plant that produces opium, the base of heroin. For 2 decades, Afghanistan was the world's largest supplier of this deadly drug. But here's the twist. While US troops were on the ground, opium production didn't vanish. It exploded. So who was really profiting? The Taliban? The CIA? Private contractors? Or someone much higher up? This is the untold story of how a global war on terror became a war for narcotics. To understand this, we have to go back to the 1980s. The Soviet Union invades Afghanistan. The US funds Afghan rebels, the Mujahideen, with money, weapons, and silence. See, during that time, something else was happening. As war tore the country apart, farmers turned to one crop that could survive the chaos: poppies. Afghanistan soon became the drug capital of the world, and US-backed warlords were deeply involved. Some reports suggest the CIA looked the other way because the drug profits helped fund anti-Soviet operations. So, from the very beginning, the opium trade and foreign intervention were twins. Fast forward to 2001. After 9/11, the US invades Afghanistan to dismantle Al-Qaeda and remove the Taliban. At that time, something incredible had just happened. The Taliban, in a desperate bid for international recognition, had nearly banned opium cultivation. Production had dropped by 90%. But after the invasion, within 2 years, Afghanistan's opium trade came roaring back to life. Coincidence or consequence? Under US occupation, poppy cultivation soared, reaching record highs. Billions of dollars worth of heroin flooded global markets. And the question no one could answer: how could this happen under the world's most powerful military's watch? Let's look at the numbers. By 2014, Afghanistan was supplying over 85% of the world's heroin. According to UN data, opium cultivation tripled during NATO's presence. Meanwhile, US agencies poured $8.6 billion into counter-narcotics. So where did all that money go? American contractors built anti-drug units, helicopters, training programs. But poppy fields kept expanding, sometimes right next to US bases. Were they blind or complicit? Whistleblowers claimed local militias allied with the US were deeply involved, protecting traffickers, taxing shipments, even using military vehicles for transport. And every year, someone, somewhere, got richer. This wasn't the first time the CIA was accused of turning a blind eye to drug money. From Laos in the 1970s to Nicaragua in the 1980s, there's a pattern. When drugs fund allies, oversight disappears. So in Afghanistan, was history repeating itself? Some journalists, like Alfred McCoy, argued that US strategy tolerated opium as long as it kept warlords loyal and enemies under control. After all, a poppy farmer with money in his hand was less likely to join the Taliban. That's not conspiracy. That's counterinsurgency logic. Ironically, it was the Taliban, branded the villains, who once again promised to end the drug trade. And after the US withdrawal in 2021, they did. In 2022, opium cultivation plummeted by 95%. It turns out, after 20 years of occupation, the only group that actually stopped heroin was the one America fought for 2 decades. Let that sink in. But where did the billions from that drug money go? Not just to farmers or warlords. Reports trace opium profits into international banks, laundering through Dubai, London, Zurich. In 2012, HSBC, one of the world's largest banks, was fined for laundering billions from drug cartels. Yet no one went to jail. Afghanistan was producing, Europe and America were consuming, and global finance was cleaning the blood money. A perfect triangle. 2 decades, hundreds of thousands dead, trillions spent. And in the end, the poppy fields thrived. Some say it was a policy failure, others say it was never meant to be stopped. Because every war has winners. And in the Afghan Opium War, the winners weren't the soldiers or the farmers. They were the ones who turned addiction into asset value. So what do you think? Was Afghanistan's drug boom an accident of war or its hidden purpose? Was this about freedom or about funding it? Tell us what you believe in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe aus Heroin for more untold history they don't want you to remember.